Shalom, shalom and welcome. My name is Symmanayah. This is a series entitled Internal Reflections, and the topic for this is pause to know. Do you want answers during these end times? Do you want to know what you should be doing? Do you want to know what to expect in the days ahead? Do you want to know, are you in the right place at the right time? Is there a lot of information that you would like to know? My brothers and sisters, this message, I believe, will be brief, but it's about a path to answers, answering questions. Sometimes the answers, though we want them, though we may think by demanding them that we will get answers, it depends on our intent. What will we do with the answers to the questions that we have? Will we use it for the betterment of set-apart children of Yahuah, those who seek to do the desire of the Almighty Father, Creator and Creator Yahuah, who drawn us to His Word that was manifest in Yahusha's name? And I'm referencing John 6:44, my brothers and sisters. How many of us truly want to know what the Almighty Father is willing to show and reveal? Do you know, my brothers and sisters, as I unpack this, I want you to be mindful. Bravery or courage varies, is different with each individual. Let me say that again. Bravery and or courage varies with each individual. How would you feel if the person you chose to lead, or that you, the assembly, the group, the community, the camp, you identified with following that group, following its leader, and you find out that he or she is a coward? Or you find out that they have certain phobias or fears, certain fears of different things, but they've been telling you, I'm not afraid of anything, I'm not afraid of anything. How would you feel as end times ramp up? In the time of need, you find out that they are afraid of water. Maybe afraid of snakes. Maybe afraid of someone putting a gun to their head. How would you feel if all of a sudden their fear dictated their actions to your demise? You see, my brothers and sisters, as end times get intense, it's important for us to know what to do. And I believe there are many leaders, many mores, pastors, brothers, sisters, that are many that saying, I'm not afraid of anything. I don't fear anybody. Next time you hear someone say that, ask the question, my brothers and sisters. What do you mean by that? What do you mean that you don't fear anything? Can you qualify that? Can you expound more on that? If they say, well, as simple as that, I'm not afraid of anything, then I would either pose the question, why you didn't mention that you are afraid of Yahuah? Why you didn't qualify and say the only person I fear is Abba Yahuah, the Almighty Creator? You see, so many people are quick to say, I'm not afraid, don't fear anything, I don't fear anything. They should qualify, with the exception of Yahuah. I submit to you, those that are quick to say that they are not afraid, they're not afraid of anything, I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, these are those that will be lacking in much knowledge needed to navigate these end time and situations, to navigate through the wars, the famine, the pestilence, the disease, the movement, the confusion. These are those who probably have compromising fellowships, groups, or communities that will fulfill proof that no kingdom, no nation divided against itself should stand. In other words, those communities, those camps, those groups will collapse if they're running around saying, I don't fear anything or anybody. Ask them, do they believe that Abba Yahuah's spirit dwells within us, those that are among the fellowship, including the leader? And if they say yes, ask them, so is it possible that at some point there could be a situation where you fear what I am saying and doing? If they say no, engage the conversation. Because see, if Yahuah works in us, through us, one towards another, when he is using us, my brothers and sisters, there are times we must yield and listen and fear what Abba Yahuah has to say to us. We must study, pray, and earnestly seek to discern what the Almighty Father wants us to know. And in order to get that knowledge, in order to know, I will present the case why fear is important. My brothers and sisters, don't you want to know? Then it's important to get to start with the beginning point. The scriptures tell us that Abba Yahuah, the Almighty Father, is the Aleph and the Tav, the beginning and the end. But we must realize whatever intentions we have with that knowledge or with the thing we want to know, what are we doing with it? Let's unpack this, pause to know. And while I unpack it, I want you to think about anything that you are afraid of. And ask yourself, do you just dive right into it and face it? Or do you pause for the moment and examine it? Examine the movement or examine the condition of whatever you're getting ready to step into. Let me tell you a brief story before I unpack this. Some people think they're ready, think they know. When you lack fear, you lack the knowledge of being able to examine yourself correctly as well as others, weighing it against set apart ways of Abba Yahuah. I had an experience where a young child told me they knew how to swim with no fear. This individual jumped into a swimming pool that was deeper than their height. And they got to fighting, trying to swim. Didn't know how to swim. And I had to pull that child out. One thing did occur. That individual developed a fear for waters over their head until they learned how to swim, and things change. Why am I telling you this? Because there are some people that say they don't fear anything, they're not afraid, and they just step erratically, not being equipped or knowing what to do in given situations. And we will see that there will be much disappointment in some individuals we think are leaders or strong and courageous, but they lack knowing, they lack fearing, they lack the steps to take to be informed. Let's unpack this, pause to know. When we begin to ask what it takes to gain what we desire, knowledge may come. It is time to realize that knowledge begins with fearing Yahuah. See, that's what they leave out when it comes to qualifying fear. That I fear Abba Yahuah, I fear the Almighty, because that's where the beginning of knowledge comes. Stay with me, my brothers and sisters. There are misconceptions to understanding fear. Begin examining what occurs during fear. Remember, we are instructed to not fear what man can do to us. How many of us have ever realized that if we face fear, how many of us have even given thought that sometimes the Almighty Father allow us to be in that fearful situation? Not to fear what man can do, but to fear what Yahuah can allow to happen or do. You see, we must, when we face fear, we must always be mindful that the scriptures tell us to pray without ceasing. Fear him, for Yahuah hardens hearts and softens hearts. For Yahuah can bring a wall of protection And if the fruit of our wickedness, rebellion, or disobedience, it could bring pain or regret. Let us hold to fear each day, a fear of Yahuah, so that we can discern the knowledge that he would have us, that is needed to guide us through making the right and wise decisions that we will face ahead. Come with me. I am using the eSword scripture version, and I want you to come with me to Matthew chapter 10, verse 26 through 28. It is written, therefore do not fear them, for whatever is covered shall be revealed, and whatever is hidden shall be made known. What I say to you in the dark, speak in the light, and what you hear in the ear, proclaim on the housetops. And do not fear those who kill the body, but are unable to kill the being, but rather fear him who is able to destroy both being and body in Gehenna. Some translations say hell. Fear Abba Yahuah, my brothers and sisters. There are many pastors, bishops, deacons, leaders, spiritual influencers, brothers and sisters who say they don't fear anything, my brothers and sisters. And because they don't fear anything, they lack the knowledge to proceed with caution. They lack the knowledge to be thorough in their teachings. They lack the knowledge of discerning and learning what is necessary to grow strong in wisdom. I say to you, he who is quick to speak, he who demonstrates being over anxious, he who claims quickly that they do not fear anything, be cautious of them. Help them, pray for them. And if they cannot come to the point where they make that a priority to say that they fear Yahuah when it comes to the word fear, and they will not yield to reproof and correction, you may want to consider strongly to come away from such. Look at Proverbs 1:7, my brothers and sisters. Take a look at it. Proverbs 1:7 in the scripture version on eSword. It is written, the fear of Yahuah is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and discipline. You see, there are those among us who get jealous quick, or whose egos are bruised because you might come into some knowledge quicker than them. Why? Because you fear Yahuah. Why? Because the intent is to grow into maturity. Not everyone have the intent to grow into maturity, to serve the desires of the Almighty Father. Some have actions and behaviors to say for self-gain. We are a curious people, my brothers and sisters, who desire to know much. Discover how it begins. It begins with Yahuah. Please be advised, there are many who dismiss the need to fear. Come with me to Proverbs 3:7. Let's take a look at it. Proverbs 3:7 says, do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear Yahuah and turn away from evil. You see, as end times ramp up, a sense of urgency will ramp up. Trying to decide where to go, which direction to go, with whom, when, how, what to take. There's a lot of knowledge that is necessary. There are some who put down knowledge. The scriptures talk about being puffed up with knowledge, as in you moving under your own comprehension, lifting up your own competence. But knowledge is not a bad thing, my brothers and sisters, when put in its place, when understanding its purpose. So do not succumb to those that just say, this person think he got all the knowledge, and then he got book knowledge. Break it down, analyze it, examine what is being said regarding knowledge. You see, I had a personal encounter on many occasions where I found favor in the Most High and had knowledge regarding certain elements, certain things, certain experiences. And I saw leaders reject the knowledge because they could not comprehend it or dismissed it and put it to the side. Knowledge that could have helped them to be more successful. But because they didn't understand it, they didn't want to dive into understanding it. They chose to dismiss it or ignore it. And it ultimately led to their failure in certain things. This happened with a lot of people that do not understand. Instead of saying, I don't understand, help me to understand. Help me to discern how it can contribute towards me being stronger, maybe even wiser. People unlearned and undiscerning will sometimes dismiss or reject knowing. It's time, my brothers and sisters, for us to ask someone, do you fear Yahuah today? And if so, what did you learn? What have you learned? What knowledge has he imparted to you? My brothers and sisters, pause to know. Come with me to Proverbs 9:10. It reads, the fear of Yahuah is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the set apart one is understanding. Yahusha, oh Yahusha, pause to know before you step into something quickly. Pause, pray, seek to discern. Understand what it means to pray without ceasing and gain the knowledge and wisdom to make the correct decision, the best decision. My brothers and sisters, end time bring intense circumstances. The confusion among set apart Yahusha will build up to fight against the instructions from Abba Yahuah. As a result of individual not fearing him, intense circumstances will come. The confusion among set apart Yahusha will build up to fight against instructions from Abba Yahuah. But we who fear Abba Yahuah, we who pray without ceasing, we who understand the need to discern his guidance, his chosen leaders, his anointed directions, to us we will gain what is necessary to navigate through the confusion. In order to recognize the knowledge needed to move past confusion, we must understand the fear of Abba Yahuah and what it brings. Am I redundant? Am I repetitive? Yes, my brothers and sisters, so that it soak in. It is my position that the fear of the Almighty Yahuah causes a pause to know, a reaction to those who seek him. In other words, distractions will be reduced or eliminated by pausing and identifying the ability to know what the Spirit is directing, adjusting our focus. During these end times, O Yahusha, we face so many distractions. We must understand the need to focus. We must understand the fruit of the discipline that is promised by Abba Yahuah, as in Revelation 3:19, or the 12th chapter of Hebrews, or in other passages that talks about Abba Yahuah's discipline. We must understand that out of his discipline comes better focused individuals. I encourage each of us to consider discussing how people respond to things that generate fear. I am persuaded to believe people will hesitate before moving forward or away from things that bring fear. Hesitation is akin to the word pause. If we further look at pause to know, we can see that it provides us time to make a decision. Make wise decisions that can be made when we are equipped with knowing or discerning Abba Yahuah's guidance, whether it be directly or through another. My brother, my sister, my family, let us prepare to receive the knowledge that is necessary to navigate these final days. When we have discussion regarding things that can make us stronger, we discover our differences. There are differences that are good, and at times those that conflict. It is a good thing to know where we stand with one another in order to grow in unity. Pause to know. It doesn't have to be a long pause, but maybe so. It may even be something that we have to set before our Yahuah and walk away until it is made clear. My brothers and sisters, you might think these words are simple, but look around as end times ramp up, more and more people saying, I don't fear anything, I'm not afraid. And I would say behind those words of many individuals is a coward. I would say behind those words of many individuals are some phobias, whether it be a fear of height, fear of water, fear of snakes. Yahuah will face movement in these end times, and there are different phobias, different fears that people have. But fear Yahuah and get the knowledge of knowing who to follow, when to lead, when to stand strong. Know how to utilize the full armor that is presented before us in Scripture. Yes, many want to know something. But what are you doing? What is the intent? Let us examine the one in the mirror with the intent to know, to grow stronger in set apartness, to be good for one another. Yahuah, oh Yahuah, if you listen to this from beginning to end, I pray that it energized you. I pray that it, at the very least, brought light to step one to knowing is fearing Yahuah. At the very least, fearing Yahuah and seeking to discern and understand his living guidance, his direction for the one in the mirror, for the brother, for the sister, for the family, for set apart Yahuah. Believe me, there will be a final gathering. There will be times where we will find ourselves growing closer to one another and meeting new brothers and sisters that are from a distance, as we find ourselves facing movement, facing forced migrations to bring us together in unity and to fulfill what is written in the Scriptures. At the very least, to fulfill the 144,000 in great multitude mentioned in Revelation 7th chapter. Gird up, my brothers and sisters. Put on the full armor. Put on the need to believe and trust. For without belief, we cannot please the Almighty Father, as it is written in Hebrews 11:6, I believe. And 11:1 says, for belief is the substance of things expected, but not seen. Many passages use the word hope. Hope being a pagan term is why I've just been compelled to not use that. If you listen to beginning to end, my prayer is that you discern the voice of Yahuah, that we grow strong in maturity and prepare to receive the things from the Almighty Father that helps us to know what it is we're to do, when, with whom, and how to govern ourselves. On that note, I thank you for listening, my brother, my sister, my family. Be encouraged. I want to say this too in imparting. Internal reflections, and occasionally there are some messages that I believe should be placed on both my channels. I have two YouTube channels, White Rose Family and Symmanayah. So occasionally I will put the same exact message with the same exact title on both channels. And this is one of those situations. Be encouraged. Share. Like. My brothers and sisters, consider subscribing that others may learn or gain just a nugget. If you got just a nugget, that nugget might be as a mustard seed and grow strong. It might direct them to this channel and they may discover a message that you didn't and share it with you. Don't take for granted the things that come across your path. Some are worth holding on to, some are worth letting go. It is your choice. I thank you for listening. I thank you for your patience. I end by saying these words. Shalom to you and your household, my brother, my sister, my family. Shalom.